Is the Nintendo Switch, a console that first released back in 2017, still worth it in 2024? Let's find out. But first, I want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. Surfshark VPN is a virtual private network that keeps all of your internet data safe and encrypted. That means that it keeps your personal information away from not only big companies, but also cyber criminals.
Nice.
Basically, Surfshark masks your IP address so it looks like you're using the internet in one place when you're really somewhere else, which is actually really convenient and useful, especially when you're traveling. First off, all the information that you're sending back and forth on like the hotel Wi-Fi or maybe the airport's Wi-Fi is all completely encrypted. Surfshark also doesn't save or keep any records of the data that you're sending, so it's completely private. Plus, if you're traveling to a place that doesn't allow you to get on social media platforms like YouTube, you can actually make your location seem like it's coming from the United States, so you can use YouTube, which I've actually done personally.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Surfshark also has a clean web feature which blocks ads, tracking, malware, and even phishing attempts. And hey, even if you're just surfing the web at your own house and not traveling anywhere, Surfshark is still very useful. I don't know if you've noticed, but certain shows are only available in certain regions, especially on Netflix and Hulu and things like that. But with Surfshark VPN, you can actually say that you're using the internet in the UK or say that you're located in the UK, so you can actually watch all the shows that are available on the UK's Netflix in your own home, which is crazy. So make sure to check out Surfshark VPN for yourself and use code Fowler for 3 extra months free. Plus, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's really no risk to you. So if you guys want to check out Surfshark for yourself, which I definitely recommend, make sure to click the link at the top of the description below and use code Fowler for 3 extra months free. Back in 2017, when the Nintendo Switch first released, it was a revolutionary new console. But it wasn't revolutionary in the way that maybe the PS4 or the Xbox One was revolutionary, in that it was more powerful than ever before. While sure, this thing was more powerful than any of the previous products that Nintendo had released up to that point, the reason this console was so revolutionary was because of its form factor. Essentially, what the Nintendo Switch could do that no other console could do at the time was be both a home console and a portable console, and do both of those things pretty well. And the way that Nintendo accomplished this idea of having both a home console and a portable console in one was pretty brilliant. Essentially, what they did was make the entire console a tablet with removable controllers. When you're on the go, you put the controllers on the sides of the tablet and you can play it portably, and then when you're at home, you literally just drop your tablet into a dock and it magically comes up on your screen. The problem is that even back in 2017, the power of the Nintendo Switch was not that great. In fact, the processor that it uses, a Tegra X1 chip that's inside the Nintendo Switch, is actually from 2015. And so even though the Nintendo Switch released 4 years after the PlayStation 4, it was still less powerful than that console. Now, to be fair, there are some pretty good reasons for that. First of all, it's a tablet, so you can't really fit all the processing power that you can fit in a PlayStation 4. Definitely not all the cooling that you can in the PlayStation 4. Secondly, Nintendo wanted the price of the Switch to be reasonable, something that everyone could buy, and honestly be cheaper than the other consoles on the market. And the best way to do that was to use slightly older technology. But even with its already somewhat outdated tech at launch, the Nintendo Switch is still incredibly successful. In fact, this is the 3rd best-selling console of all time. As of right now, in 2024, they've sold 139 million Switch units, which is 3rd only to the Nintendo DS and the PlayStation 2. So even with the hardware disadvantages, this console has been incredibly popular over its lifespan. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Nintendo knows how to optimize their games for their consoles, and their games are not too graphically intensive. Not only that, the game library on the Nintendo Switch is one of the best of all time. It has some of the best games ever made. Granted, a lot of them are from Nintendo themselves, and that's why they work so well on the console, but still, an insane library that's worth checking out if you haven't yet. And if that's all there was to it, I would absolutely recommend grabbing the console right now. Where the problem is, though, is that next year in 2025, it's thought that Nintendo is going to be releasing the Switch 2. Hence the reason I'm making this video. Is the Nintendo Switch worth it in 2024, knowing that there's a Switch predecessor coming in the next couple months to next year? Now, currently, not much is known about the next Switch console. They don't even know what the name of the console is going to be. It could be the Switch 2, or it could be something completely different. People don't even really know the form factor of the next console. The assumption is that the Switch 2 is going to look very similar to the Switch 1 because of not only leaks of screen sizes, but also because this console is so successful. And 2, based on more leaks, it looks like the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be underpowered once again. So all of that leads us to believe that it is going to be some version of a tablet with removable controllers. So if you buy your consoles purely because of console innovation and you like these new quirky things that they do, it's very possible that the Nintendo Switch 2 won't be that much different from the Nintendo Switch 1, and so it might be worth just picking up the Nintendo Switch now. Like I already mentioned, the Nintendo Switch has an amazing game library of both physical and digital only games. It's expansive, it's filled with AAA titles, and there's a lot of really great Nintendo games that you can can only get on the Switch. Some of my favorites are Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Party Superstar, love that game, and of course Mario Golf. These are the games that I like, but there's a lot of other games out there that people like that are not just fun party games. The question is though, will the next Switch be backwards compatible? I think there is a pretty good chance of that, but there's no way to know for sure, and if that is the case, it might be worth waiting till the next Switch if you don't need to play a console right now. On the other side of that coin, because there's such an expansive library on the Nintendo Switch, if you bought this console now and didn't feel like upgrading for another 5 years, you wouldn't run out of titles anytime soon. Plus, there are a lot of options when it comes to purchasing the Nintendo Switch, whether you're trying to save money or whether you're trying to have the best of the best. So the cheapest Nintendo Switch you can buy right now is the Nintendo Switch Lite. It comes in at a retail price of $199, however, there is a pretty large caveat. And that's that the controllers are not removable and you can also not dock it, so it is purely a portable console. And if you're just buying it for your kids or maybe buying it for yourself for when you travel, that's totally fine. However, if you decide you want to have the option to play your Nintendo Switch on your TV, there is the next step up, the standard Nintendo Switch that comes in at a retail price of $299. Now this console's had a few light upgrades since it first released back in 2017, but it is overall generally the same console that it was back then, but it gets the job done, and when you plug it into your TV, you don't even need the screen, so it doesn't even matter. But the other option is to go all in and grab the top of the line Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch OLED. This essentially is the standard Nintendo Switch. It's got the same internals as that console, however the main difference is the screen on the front of the device, which is a little bit bigger, but the main difference is that it's an OLED panel instead of an LCD panel, which essentially means the colors are brighter, the contrast is better. When you see black, it's actual black and not some like lit up gray. However, this OLED screen doesn't really matter if you're just playing this console docked, because again, it's got the same internals as a standard Switch. So this screen only really matters if you plan on playing this console portably. And of course, because of that upgrade, it does come at a higher retail price point of $349. Now to be fair, all these consoles are cheaper than the current gen PlayStation and Xbox consoles, but those are also newer generations than were out when the Switch first came out, so they are significantly better in terms of graphical power. But hey, if you want to just grab a fun console for a cheap price to play some awesome games, the Switch is the way to go. So all of that brings us back to the question, is the Nintendo Switch worth it in 2024? Knowing that there's a new console right around the corner, and knowing that the graphical power of this console is already over 7 years old, almost 10 years old. And I'll be completely honest, if you don't care about playing the latest games on the highest settings, the Nintendo Switch is kind of a no-brainer. There are so many amazing games on this console that even if you only buy a new console like every 3 to 5 years, buying this now, even with the new one coming out next year, you'll have a lot of games to play for the next 5 years. And usually when a new console comes out, for like that first year, there isn't a lot to play on it. So most likely when the new Switch comes out, unless it's backwards compatible, I'll still probably recommend the regular Switch over the new Switch. And honestly, if the retail price of any of these Nintendo Switches is too high for you, you can buy used ones for pretty cheap. Plus, even in 2024, this form factor that switches between portable and home console is still pretty hard to find. Yes, there are portable PCs like the Steam Deck that you can play portably and then plug into a monitor, but none of them are as seamless as the Nintendo Switch. It's got more party style games for when people come over than any other console. It's got more kid-friendly games than really any other console. Plus, it's got some really good games out there for the more adult solo game players out there, like Zelda Breath of the Wild. But in my opinion, in 2024, the Nintendo Switch is absolutely still worth it. Bang for the buck wise when compared to the current consoles, worth it. And I think even for the first couple years of the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever it is coming out, this will still be a console that's still very relevant. No, you're not going to get the most amazing graphics. Yes, there might be some frame rate stutters on third-party games, but overall, the gaming experience is incredibly smooth, and it's an awesome overall console. But hey, at this point, I'd love to know your thoughts on whether the Nintendo Switch is worth it in 2024, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you all in the next one.